So what do you want to do the next video on?
I don't know, something easy, something we can get out fast for the fans, you know? I mean, something that's not too complicated? What the?
I humbly request a Kingdom Hearts video.
So do you guys want like a game theory or maybe a character biography or something?
Everything.
Everything. That's kind of a really tall order.
Everything.
I mean, everything. I don't know if I want to do everything.
That's just way too tall of an order.
No. Everything.
Well, I guess we're doing this.
Hey, welcome to the final bosses.
Today we're going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts.
All of it.
Everything.
The entire timeline.
So we hope you guys sit back, have a bowl of popcorn, and let's fight.
In the beginning, there was darkness. In this darkness, light was born, and that brought people. Soon, the worlds were all connected. Everyone lived together in a balance of light and dark. However, darkness is in every heart, and at some point, that balance began to break, and a Keyblade War took place. A Keyblade is a weapon made from the heart of a wielder. It has wide uses from opening doors to opening hearts. It can be a weapon and can be used to fight for light or darkness. As for this Keyblade War, not much is really known about it, how it started, how it ended. All we know is that one young boy with a Keyblade, he lived through it, and he began to train himself. This boy grew up to become the Master of Masters. He trained 6 apprentices, who became masters themselves. 5 of the masters would form unions, and these unions would train the next line of Keyblade wielders. They were also there to gather Lux, which is fragments of light. The master also created the Book of Prophecies, a book that showed the future. However, it came with a cost. He puts his eye in a special Keyblade, which he gives to his 6th apprentice, Luciu. Luciu is told to use the Keyblade to watch the events that would take place. The eye, according to the master, is how he sees the future. He also gives copies of the books to the other apprentice and gives them a role, telling them that another Keyblade War was coming and that they cannot stop it. They can follow his guide, so there's hope for the future. He said this all before he vanished. However, these roles began to create mistrust in the apprentices. The unions also began to distrust one another, as gathering Lux became a grab for power. With enough Lux, they thought they could summon Kingdom Hearts. So, what is Kingdom Hearts? Kingdom Hearts is the heart of the universe, a construct with the power of God. If someone was to tap into that power, they could do near anything, including recreate the universe. One apprentice named Ava, who had a role to gather strong hearts to save for after the war, began to see that the roles the master gave them were leading to the war. She knew there was supposed to be a traitor and began to look for Luciu. She does find him, and after he reveals his role and tells her who the traitor is, though unfortunately we don't get to see who that is, after that she attacks him. The shockwave rings the bells in the city, signaling the start of the Keyblade War.
The war destroyed the realm of light, and darkness took over again. However, the Keyblade wielders Ava had picked survived, and were sent into the data world. All their memories were taken except for the chosen 5, though none of them knew they were in data. Those 5 chosen leaders were Ephemer, Brain, Scold, Lorium, and Starletia. However, Starletia was not with the 5 leaders after the war. Instead, it was someone named Ventus. He remembered being picked by Ava, but an entity known as Darkness somehow tricked or possessed him to kill Starletia. Before we move on, let me tackle time travel and hearts. Hearts in Kingdom Hearts are not like real-world hearts. They're more or less like the soul of a person. They can be removed from a person without their bodies dying. They can also be put back. They can be formed into puppets and data, and we'll get into that more later. We need to know that because for time travel to work, you have to have your heart leave your body, and then it can travel to a time, but only a place where your heart is. You can't change the past, and people you talk to won't remember you. while you're in the past. Time travel rules, however, are not set in stone, Xehanort. The dandelions were using the Book of Prophecies to create data worlds, of worlds from the future. To explain that, they could look into the future and see a world like Aladdin's world, and then create a data version of that. That data version would then be used to train the dandelions and help them to collect lux. One of these data worlds is Sleeping Beauties. This is important because the real Maleficent, just before being killed in the future, sends her heart back in time to try to change her fate. She, however, misjudges and sends her heart back into the data world of her world, since her data self is there and has formed a heart. This is where the darkness again appears and captures Maleficent and plans on using her. While we don't have all the information from here on out, we do know that there are pods called arcs that should be used to travel into the future without the normal rules. We know some characters made this journey, but who and how many is still a mystery. In the end, the light and the hearts of the dandelions reform the worlds. However, they remain separate from one another, with darkness surrounding them. There is also a realm of darkness, filled with creatures known as Heartless.
Years after the worlds were reformed, Lucio has passed down his gazing eye Keyblade and has changed bodies several times. He now watches two young Keyblade wielders, Ericus and Xehanort. They are training in a place called Scala Echaelum. Ericus is a descendant of one of the old masters, and Xehanort is from a world that borders the realm of darkness, a world called Destiny Islands. When Xehanort began his journey to become a master, he was met by the Master of Masters. The master gave him a cloak and told him to come back once Xehanort was done with his journeys through the worlds. When Xehanort did come back, he found people to be weak and the light a fake. He wanted darkness to take back over and reset the worlds once again. After some years has passed, both Ericus and Xehanort became masters. However, Ericus noticed that his friend was being overwhelmed by darkness. He confronted him and Xehanort attacked. They ended their friendship that day and went separate ways. Lucius sees that Xehanort is the scapegoat he's been waiting for and decides to guide him to bring darkness. He took over a man named Breg and made contact with Xehanort, pretending to be clueless about Keyblades. After hundreds of years, Ventus finally appears back in the worlds. He is unlucky and is found by Xehanort, who notices Ven is made from half light and half darkness. He begins to train him to use his darkness, but Ventus can't use it by himself and is nearly killed. Xehanort extracts the darkness from Ven and it becomes its own being. He takes Ven to his homeworld to leave his broken heart and body. However, at the same time, a baby is born. This baby has a lot of light, and its heart reaches out to Ven, giving Ven a piece of it and making him whole again. Xehanort now has a being of pure light and one of pure darkness, so he forms a plan to forge the Keyblade. What is the Keyblade? Well, first, I'm going to start calling it the X-Blade, just to make life easy. This is the ultimate Keyblade that can summon Kingdom Hearts. It is supposed to be forged when light and darkness fight in a third Keyblade war. However, Xehanort thinks he can skip this war and make a strong Ventus and his darkness fight. That darkness is called Vanitas. Xehanort makes nice with Ericus and gives Ventus to him for care and training. Ericus already had two apprentices, Terra and Aqua. It doesn't take long for the three of them to feel like family. 5 years have passed, and just before Terra and Aqua to take their Mark of Mastery exam, Aqua makes the group charm called Wayfinders. This trio of characters is called the Wayfinder Trio because of this. Xehanort joins Ericus to watch the exams and adds a little darkness. Terra feeds off that darkness a bit and has trouble holding it back. Because of this, Aqua is named Master and Terra is not. Now is the time for Xehanort's plan to hatch. Vanitas can make creatures called Unversed, and he and Xehanort have spread them across the worlds. Aqua and Terra are sent off to stop them. They use their fancy armor and ability to change their Keyblade into vehicles to fly through the darkness to reach other worlds. Vanitas makes Ven worry about Terra, and he chases after him, putting all three on an adventure. Side note, very few worlds know about other worlds existing. Terra is slowly being manipulated by Xehanort and other dark beings, like Maleficent, who is told about other worlds by Xehanort and plans to use darkness to begin to take over the worlds. Ventus is mostly having fun and making friends as he chases after Terra. And Aqua, well, she's trying to clean up Terra's messes and looking for Ven to send him home. They do meet up temporarily, but split on bad terms shortly after. Lucio, now Breg, fights Terra and forces him to use darkness to beat him. Vin meets two characters named Lee and Isa, and Vin and Lee become instant friends. Aqua also meets a young princess named Kairi. She senses the powerful light in her and puts a magical spell on her, that if her heart was lost, it would be saved. This is where we meet Mickey, an apprentice Keyblade wielder. Yin Sid, who is training Mickey, but he's a retired master. Donald, the royal mage, and Goofy, the king's knight. They are also trying to stop the unversed and protect the worlds. After the group saves many worlds, Terra lands on Destiny Islands and meets a boy named Riku. He senses in him a strong desire to protect his friends, very much like himself, and he bequeaths a Keyblade to Riku. And while the 6-year-old won't be able to use it yet, its power is asleep within him. And Terra leaves. Not long later, Aqua arrives. She meets both Riku and his best friend, Sora. She can tell both could be Keyblade wielders, but before she can pick who she wants to give a Keyblade to, she realizes Riku already has one. Limiting the distance from her friends, she claims that one Keyblade is enough for any friendship. She also sees that Riku and Terra are kindred spirits, and tells Sora to keep Riku close and keep him safe. Vin learns of the plan to get him and Vanitas to fight and forge the X-Blade. He returns to Ericus, who decides to kill Vin to protect the worlds. Terra, who was just told that Vin was going to die by Xehanort, arrives just in time to save Vin. He sends Vin through a portal and fights Ericus. Terra accepts the darkness and wounds Ericus. Ericus, when asking Terra for forgiving him for attacking his students, is killed by Xehanort. Xehanort then reveals his plan and invites Terra to fight him in the place the Second Keyblade War took place, known now as the Badlands, or the Keyblade Graveyard. The Wayfinder trio meet up again in the graveyard to fight Xehanort and Vanitas. To keep this as short as possible, Terra beats Xehanort, and Xehanort uses that as an opening to take over Terra's body. A small part of his will lingers in his armor and fights and beats Xehanort, causing him to lose his memories, but Terra did not get his body back. Mickey comes to help Aqua and Vin, but Vanitas manages to take Vin's body anyway. Vin and Vanitas fight inside Vin's heart, where Vin wins, but his heart is shattered, and he goes back into a state of a coma. When his heart shattered, the X-Blade, which was forged, though forged broken, exploded, sending everyone flying. Mickey managed to save Aqua and Vin's sleeping body and take them to Yin Sid's tower. Aqua learns that Vin might not wake up for a while, and she takes him to the world they trained on, called the Land of Departure. She puts Vin inside the castle and then uses a secret technique that Ericus showed her, and transforms the castle into a huge maze called Castle Oblivion. On Destiny Island, Sora feels someone hurting, and with Riku's encouragement reaches out to them. It's Vin's heart, and Sora was the infant who gave a piece of his heart to Vin. Now Sora accepts Vin's heart inside of his to protect it. Aqua hears news of Terra on another world, and she heads there and finds the possessed Terra. She fights and beats him. Terra, with a moment of control, stabs himself and falls into a dark portal. Aqua, thinking Terra is free, dives in after him. She catches him, but won't make it out of the darkness in time. She uses magic to send him, her armor, and her Keyblade out of the portal, while she falls deeper into darkness. A white-haired Terra is found by a man named Ansem the Wise and his research team. One of these members is Bragg. Bragg then confirms that Xehanort still has control, though most of his memories are gone.
Ansem the Wise was a researcher focused on the secrets of the heart. He invited Xehanort to help him research, and together they made many experiments on the heart, with little regard to ethics, experimenting on children and unlocking secrets to the heart. Even a girl who they found was from the past and had no memories. At some point, Ansem the Wise changed and forbid Xehanort from any more unethical experiments. Xehanort and many of the team turned against Ansem the Wise and decided to experiment on themselves. They split their hearts and transformed their home into a place of darkness. Fortunately, Kairi is spared and sent to live on Destiny Island. With this move, Xehanort became a Heartless and a Nobody. I will explain Nobodies later, but Heartless are hearts that have fallen into darkness, or had their hearts stolen by Heartless. The darkness can also be extracted with a special key blade or a powerful mage like Maleficent. Xehanort's Heartless took the name Ansem, so Xehanort, pretending to be Ansem, I will call Ansem, and the real Ansem, I will call Ansem the Wise. Ansem, as the Heartless, was busy. He planned to use the 7 Princesses of Heart to summon Kingdom Hearts. With the help from Maleficent, he began to gather them. He also began to use the Heartless to plunge the worlds into darkness, as worlds can be consumed by darkness as well, since each world has a heart. The Princesses of Heart have the power of light needed to summon Kingdom Hearts. However, Ansem still wants to make sure if he fails with the princesses, he still has a third Keyblade War. He sends his heart to the past so that his young self can help with the war. After his heart returns, he is in Destiny Island, his old home, and home to the now 15-year-old Riku and 14-year-old Sora and Kairi. These three are called the Destiny Trio. They know that there are other worlds thanks to Kairi and want to go off and explore the worlds. The night before they leave, Ansem begins to plunge the world into darkness. Sora finds Riku. Riku says he's not afraid of the darkness and is swallowed by it. Riku's Keyblade moves to Sora. Sora finds Kairi, who is hit by a wave of darkness and disappears as she reaches Sora. Her heart is now inside Sora. He doesn't know that, nor does he remember Vin's heart being inside him as well. After fighting a tough Heartless, Sora is thrown from his world to a world called Traverse Town, a world that picks up lost hearts and gives them a place to live. Here he meets many people, but most importantly he meets Donald and Goofy, who is on a mission to follow the Keyblade. They are also looking for King Mickey. Is he at Venice? They have a gummy ship that can fly through darkness to other worlds. The fourth and often forgotten member is Jiminy Cricket, and his world was consumed as well. Sora decides to look for Riku and Kairi. However, Riku is being manipulated by Maleficent, who is showing Sora making new friends, and it makes Riku think Sora has forgotten him. Maleficent has a team of Disney villains looking for the princesses and trying to take over their worlds. Sora, Donald, and Goofy travel to different worlds, saving people and worlds. As Sora learns to use his Keyblade, he meets Alice and Jasmine, two of the princesses, and sadly both of them are kidnapped. Sora and company go to Peter Pan's world, where Hook is shocked that Wendy is not a Princess of Heart. However, he finds Riku, who shows him Kairi's body, telling Sora while he was out having fun that Riku was searching for Kairi. Kairi, of course, is asleep and her heart is inside Sora, and none of them know it yet. Riku leaves with Kairi, and Sora and company follows after. They reach a world called Hollow Bastion, where they met up with Beast, who, with his strong will, traveled through the darkness without protection to follow Belle here since he was kidnapped because she is also a Princess of Heart. The four make their way to the base of the castle. Riku shows up. At this point, Ansem is inside Riku, though he hasn't taken control yet, and he wounds Beast and takes Sora's Keyblade away, since it really belonged to him in the first place. Donald and Goofy go with Riku since they have to follow the key. Beast, even injured, will go after Riku to find Belle and give Sora the strength to go on with or without a Keyblade. He makes it into the reception hall and is met with Riku, Donald, and Goofy. Riku feeds into his darkness and attacks Sora, but Goofy protects him, abandoning his quest. Donald follows quickly after. Sora makes a speech about his heart and his friends, and how they give his heart strength. His friends are his power. The Keyblade makes up its mind and returns to Sora. Riku and Sora fight, with Riku retreating after being beaten by Sora. Ansem begins to take control of Riku. He summons a Keyblade of his own, one that releases hearts. Sora then fights and beats Maleficent. She retreats, Sora follows. Riku/Ansem stabs Maleficent with the Keyblade, giving her extra power. She turns into a dragon. After Sora beats the dragon Maleficent, she is killed. However, using that knowledge Xehanort gave her, she sends herself back in time to change the future. Sora makes it into the final room. Maleficent and Riku were trying to use the princesses to show them the heart of the world, the last step they needed to find Kingdom Hearts. Sora now will see all the princesses, which we already know are Alice, Jasmine, Belle, but there is also Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora. He finds Kairi's body and learns that she is the seventh princess. Sora also sees that Riku is fully taken over by Ansem. Ansem tells Sora that Kairi is in him, and Sora and Ansem fight. Sora wins and Ansem retreats. Sora can't seal the keyhole and suggests that Kairi needs to wake up before it can be sealed. Sora, with a grin, stabs himself with the Dark Keyblade and releases all the hearts in him and the princess's hearts within the Dark Keyblade. Sora becomes a Heartless, and two nobodies were created. Heartless Sora is brought back to himself by the power of Kairi, and such breaks the rules of how a person is brought back to life after being turned into a Heartless and Nobody. Normally the Nobody and the Heartless would have to be defeated, and the person would be restored. However, as I said, Kairi kinda broke that. Sora takes Kairi to a safe place and seals the keyhole at Hollow Bastion, and follows Ansem to the end of the worlds, a place that is mostly in the dark realm, but part still in the light. While Sora is fighting his way to Ansem, Aqua is still fighting in the realm of darkness. She hasn't aged, but is slowly losing herself, and the spirits of Ventus and Terra come to help her, here and there, so she doesn't completely fall. She runs into Mickey, who is looking for the Keyblade in the realm of darkness that will help him seal the door to darkness. They fight a tide of Heartless together. Riku is also now in the realm of darkness, since his heart was cast aside from Ansem, and Aqua once again sacrifices herself to save someone, this time Riku, from being killed by the tide. While Aqua is not killed, she is once again separated from all living beings. Mickey finds the Keyblade and follows Riku to the door to darkness. Sora beats Ansem, and Ansem summons what he thinks is Kingdom Hearts, but it is the door to darkness. When it opens fully, light pulls out. While not understood why, Sora called out to Kingdom Hearts as well as saying it is light, and that created the response. Ansem is defeated, and Sora, with the help of Riku and Mickey from the other side, closed the door. The worlds that fell to darkness begin to return to the light, and are reformed. Kairi is taken to Destiny Island, but all the people trapped in the realm of darkness stay there, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy are taken to the crossroads.
Here's a good time to explain nobodies. Nobodies are the mostly empty husks of people who are turned into Heartless. Most nobodies are mindless beings, but some retain part of their heart. These nobodies can think and plan and to some degree feel, though it's all very numb. The nobody of Xehanort is named Xemnas, a mix of the name Ansem with an X added in. A problem with nobodies is they do lose some memories of who they were. Xemnas remembers some of his goal, mostly Kingdom Hearts and the number 13, so he makes Organization 13, whose goal is to use Kingdom Hearts to make hearts for each nobody. Most of the 13 is made up from members of the research group, like Lee, Aiza, and Bragg. Some are from the past, like Lorium, while a few others are mysteries. Sora's nobody is also part of the organization named Roxas. Because of who was in Sora's heart, Roxas looks and sounds like Ventus, though he's a bit more edgier than Ventus. Roxas makes friends with Lee, now called Axel, and the 14th member, a near-empty puppet named Shion. The three of them start to get close before Axel is called away on a mission to Castle Oblivion, the same castle Vanitas' body is in. Sora, Donald, and Goofy are led into the castle by the organization, intending to use Sora to help them gather hearts and brainwash him into doing so. Thanks to Princess of Light shenanigans, Kairi made a nobody without losing her body. This nobody is called Naminé. Naminé has the power to rewrite Sora's memories, and due to the fact memories are tied to hearts and chains, she can change these memories of Sora and other people's hearts. The organization has Naminé, and she's a key part to their plan. They are also making use of replicas. There are variations to these, but the first models are like clones, using memories to make them. Shion is actually one of them, and becomes to come more alive after this event, but we will get back to that in a moment. At the same time as this, Riku has crossed out of the realm of darkness and ends up in the basement of Castle Oblivion. There's still a little bit of Ansem in his heart, and he is still fighting it. Vexen, the lead researcher of replicas, fights Riku and takes the data he needs to replicate him, making another Riku to help trick Sora further. While there are several organization members in the castle, there are only a few ones of note. Lorium's nobody, called Marluxia, is leading the mission, though he plans on betraying the organization. Axel, also there, but he is sent to take out any nobodies who betray the organization. With all that out of the way, we can get into the story. As Sora climbs the tower, he faces off against the organization here and there. As Sora climbs, he begins to lose his memories, and they are being replaced with false memories of Naminé. He faces off with Replica Riku, thinking he is the real Riku, and the plan is going perfectly. That is, until Axel learns the truth about the plan to betray the organization. He kills a wounded Vexen and a nobody named Larxene. He sets Naminé free so she can tell Sora the truth. Sora doesn't care if all his memories are fake. He still wants to help and protect Naminé. After one final fight with Axel, Sora faces off and defeats Marluxia. Naminé has to put Sora asleep to fix his memories. This will make Sora forget about his time in the castle, and forget about Naminé. Meanwhile, Riku struggles to keep the darkness at bay. However, with the help of Mickey, and a figure called Diz, Riku is able to defeat Ansem once and for all. He does also kill 2 other organization members, and Replica Riku. He makes his way to the top of the tower. There he meets Naminé and sees the sleeping Sora. His new goal is to protect Sora and walk the road of twilight. Axel returns to the organization, and he and Roxas and Shion become close. These 3 are called the Sea Salt Trio. Both Roxas and Shion can use the Keyblade, though sometimes they both lose the ability to, since the Keyblade belongs to Sora. Rox is a little more consistent to it thanks to being part Ventus. After close to a year, Riku, Naminé, and Diz, who is also helping Sora, realize they need Xion and Roxas to make Sora whole again. Xion runs away from the organization, and Axel says he will always be around to bring her back. While sounding like a threat, it was a promise to keep his friends safe. Riku tells Xion about Sora and her real goal. Xion needs time to think, but Axel shows up to bring Xion back. She tells him not to hold back, and they fight, with Axel winning. Not long after, Sora is almost ready to wake up. Xion tells Roxas that when she returns to Sora, nobody's going to remember her. And now is the time to return to Sora. Both her and Roxas. They fight with Roxas winning the battle, killing Xion. She returns to Sora. Roxas decides to leave the organization, despite the pleas from a heartbroken Axel. Riku decides to bring Roxas in by force, but at this point Roxas has been stealing power from Sora and Ventus to keep himself whole, and Roxas, with his 2 Keyblades, is able to beat Riku. Riku, however, refuses to give up on Sora and gives into darkness, beating Roxas, but changing to look like Ansem. He takes Roxas back to Diz, and Diz puts Roxas into a data realm, while they take Sora's powers back.
Roxas in the Data World thinks he is a regular high school student and is friends with 3 data versions of real people, Hayner, Pence, and Olette. Roxas dreams of Sora as Sora gets closer to waking up. Meanwhile, Axel has found the Data World and keeps trying to bring Roxas back. But Roxas' memories are still gone and won't return. Naminé meets up with Roxas to let him know what's going on, as she hates to see him suffer and lose who he is. Roxas wants to keep his own heart. However, Diz and Riku push Roxas towards Sora. Inside Roxas' heart, Kairi, who is just now starting to remember Sora, talks to Roxas. She is trying to figure out who Sora is and why he means so much to her. Sora's voice joins in and teases Kairi. Roxas remembers who he is, and on the day Sora wakes up, he makes his way to the data transfer to the real world. Axel finds him, and while Roxas remembers who he is, it's too late, and the friends fight. With Roxas winning, he is led to Sora. Upon seeing him, knows what he has to do, and rejoins with Sora. Sora, Donald, and Goofy ride the train, and it takes them out of the world into Yen Sid's tower, where he tells Sora about the new organization threat, and that many Heartless are back. Sora is to protect the worlds and defeat the organization. The 3 good fairies give Sora a new outfit and imbue it with magic. Sora, with the help of his friends, can now wield 2 Keyblades at certain times. After Sora leaves in his new gummy ship, Maleficent, most likely using the Ark from Union Cross, returns from the past. Riku lets Naminé and Axel go, giving them a chance to live some kind of life. He will fight the organization his own way and protect Sora. Sora visits many different worlds, meeting several members of the organization. Xemnas even shows a display of his power while he is in Hollow Bastion. The first half of Sora's journey focuses on sealing worlds and fighting off Heartless threats. He eventually makes his way back to Hollow Bastion, where Ansem the Wise's study is found. He meets with Mickey, and for the first time gets to talk to him. Here Sora learns a few things we've already covered, that Xemnas is Xehanort's nobody, and that Ansem is Xehanort's Heartless, and Ansem the Wise is a different person altogether. Not long after, a massive army of Heartless attack Hollow Bastion, and everyone joins the fight, with Sora taking down over 1,000 Heartless single-handedly. Xemnas pops up and teases Sora and tells him their plan, to let Sora use the Keyblade to free the hearts that they are going to collect to make Kingdom Hearts. Xemnas vanishes and is chased by Mickey. Sora is discouraged and feels like giving up, but Maleficent and Pete save him. Sora decides to keep fighting, and the second half of his journey focuses on stopping the organization's plans. He is mostly successful and even able to beat one of the members. Kairi is kidnapped by Axel and ends up in the Nobody's home, the world that never was. She is told that she is going to be used as bait for Sora. However, Naminé appears and saves Kairi, helping her escape the cell. They are stopped by Saïx. However, Riku, who was working with Naminé all along, jumps in to save them. At some point during this time, Naminé returns to Kairi's heart. Sora gets help from Axel to enter the world that never was. Axel gives up his life to do so and says he's sorry for kidnapping Kairi. He just wanted Roxas back. As they get close to the organization's stronghold, Roxas attempts to take over Sora's heart. They fight inside Sora's heart, and Sora wins. They get inside the stronghold. Diz and Mickey are there too, and Diz reveals himself to be Ansem the Wise. Trying to atone for his mistakes, Sora goes on a organization heart unlocking spree and reunites with Kairi and Riku. Even though the naive Sora thought it was Ansem helping him, since Riku still looked like Ansem, Kairi corrects Sora though. At this point, the organization has collected enough hearts to summon Kingdom Hearts, though none of them know that this Kingdom Hearts is a fake. Ansem the Wise using his machine trust to digitize the Kingdom Hearts, and is successful. However, the machine blows up, sending him into the world of darkness, but not before he apologizes to Roxas and Naminé. The blast casts Ansem form aside and restores Riku to his original state. Then they team up together to beat the last organization member, Xemnas. With that threat gone, they go through a portal and return home, but before they can do that, Naminé and Roxas manage to hold a form long enough to have a short conversation before they both return to their respective hearts. Sora and Riku are the only ones not to cross over when the portal is closed. They then together have to fight Xemnas again, with Riku being wounded from protecting Sora. However, they are able to beat him for good and are sent to the world of darkness. There on the beach, Sora finds a note from Kairi that she had sent from Destiny Islands. Sora reading the note and his connection to Kairi's heart opens the door to light. Sora and Riku walk through and return to Destiny Islands where their friends are waiting for them.
A short time later, Mickey's on his world, and they decide to turn Jiminy's journal into data to figure some things out. The story's not all that important. Really, Maleficent tries to use the data to take over the castle from Mickey, and in remarks the data world feels familiar, showing that she has almost no memories of her time in the past. The data world also reveals all Naminé did, and that nobodies do have hearts, so there's hope to save Roxas and Naminé. Mickey also decides that now is the time to save Aqua, and hopefully the others, but he can't go alone. He sends a note to Sora, telling him and Riku it's time to make them masters. Around this time, Axel and some of the other organization members who are part of Ansem the Wise's research team wake up in Hollow Bastion, now renamed back to its original name of Radiant Garden. They are completely human again, and Axel goes back to being called Lee. He realizes that Saïx is not there and looks for his friend. Sora and Riku head to Yen Sid's tower, where he tells them their Mark of Master exam will be them traveling back in time to their old bodies to then travel to sleeping worlds that should have returned to the light but have not, and wake them up. Doing so will give them the power of waking, which will help them save Ventus, if they can find him at least. So they do just that. However, Ansem was on that island that night, which was unknown to everybody, so instead of going into the sleeping world, Ansem put Sora to sleep so he could cast him into darkness. Riku, however, without knowing, follows Sora and becomes his Dream Eater. Now, Dream Eaters are naturally evil, but can be turned to protect a sleeper if need be. Sora and Riku are separated. They're still in the same world, but since Sora's in a deep sleep, they are on different planes of existence. If I haven't said it yet, welcome to Kingdom Hearts. Sora and Riku manage to wake the sleeping worlds, and Riku returns to the world of light. However, he sees Sora still asleep, as Sora is lured deeper into sleep by young Xehanort, who, through some time travel fun, has made his way to the future. Sora also has to deal with Xemnas and Ansem, who have traveled from the past as well. Around this time, Aqua, still in the realm of darkness, finds the shores that Riku and Sora were. She finds Ansem the Wise, and she begins to cry when she hears the boy she met so long ago has saved the worlds twice. Riku dives back into Sora's dream to save him, even though he may be lost forever. Sora keeps going deeper into the dream, seeing glimpses of Ventus and Xion. He also finds Roxas, who shows Sora all of his memories. Xigbar also shows up, egging Sora on. Sora keeps falling for the traps and falls deeper into sleep, so deep that darkness begins to take hold. However, Ventus is able to save him by covering Sora in his armor. Riku, after defeating Nightmare, returns Sora and himself to the world of light. However, they are in the world that never was. Riku fights Ansem and makes his way to the throne room, where he finds Sora's body. He fights young Xehanort and wins. However, the original Xehanort returns. Just as Mickey makes his way inside, Xehanort explains that his other plans to summon Kingdom Hearts failed because he was impatient. However, now is the time to have 13 darknesses face off against the 7 lights. Xehanort is still in control over Terra, and in fact, all the 12 darknesses have a part of Xehanort in them. Now, Xehanort explains that Sora will be the 13th, since Riku has accepted the dark and can't be controlled by it. Riku and Mickey go to save Sora, but Xemnas and Ansem stop them and hold them down. They watch helplessly as Xehanort fires a beam at Sora that will make him part Xehanort. However, Lee arrives just in time to save Sora. Xehanort sends Saïx to engage with Lee, revealing he is one of the 13 Darknesses. Donald and Goofy also arrive to help. Together they hold off the Xehanorts long enough that they have to return to their own times. But Xehanort, like normal, has a plan. They bring Sora's body back to Yensid's tower, where Riku jumps into Sora's heart one more time. Ventus's armor is now possessed by Nightmare, and Riku fights it and wins, freeing Sora. Before returning to the real world, Riku stumbles into data that Ansem the Wise hid inside Sora's heart. In this data, he finds Xion, Ventus, and Roxas. Though it should be noted, this is not their real hearts, just a fragment of data. Same with the Ansem the Wise Riku runs into while he's in there. Also of note, Riku also forgot who Xion was and never met Ventus. Riku takes the data of Ansem the Wise and returns to the real world. Here he is named to Master, while Sora is not. Lee reveals that he can now summon a Keyblade, and we also see that Kairi can as well. Time to explain this before we move on. We know of 4 ways to get a Keyblade. It can be passed down, as with the Gazing Eye. They can be found, as Mickey did with the Keyblade he is using at this point. One thing of note, these 2 options only happen with people who already had Keyblades, so take that as you will. The real 2 ways are simple. While it's ultra rare, a Keyblade can pick a wielder. That is, if their original wielder is no longer worthy, like Sora and Riku, or they can be bequeathed. A Keyblade wielder can bequeath a Keyblade to another person, like Terra did with Riku. However, the bequeathing does not have to be done on purpose. If someone with a capability touches a Keyblade, they can receive one when they call on it. Kairi touches Aqua's Keyblade when they meet, and Lee picks up Ventus's practice Keyblade. Okay, with that out of the way, Sora is off reconnecting with his Dream Meter friends, giving us a hint that we won't know until later that Sora did learn the power of waking, and because of this, Ventus's body reacts and he smiles. Riku and Mickey decide now is the time to save Aqua. However, some things are happening. Evan, who we know as Vexen, is given a chance to finish his replica program. This is how the organization will keep their 13 hearts around, by having those hearts traveling in time to a waiting replica. This will allow these hearts to break the rules of time travel, by staying in the future as long as they're needed. Aqua is still with Ansem the Wise, but Ansem shows up. She tries to protect Ansem the Wise, but since she lost her Keyblade in the fight versus the Demon Tide, she is sadly outmatched and she falls into the abyss, the darkest darkness can go. Ansem the Wise is captured.
Sora returns to Yensid and is told that he has to retrain since he has lost all of his powers when he fell to the dark. Sora again with Donald and Goofy go on a 3rd adventure. They are still protecting worlds from falling into darkness and discovering some of the new princesses of light, but we'll get to that soon. Kairi and Lee go to a place to train without time. Riku and Mickey make it to the world of darkness, and they can't find Aqua. They're really bad at it. But the Demon Tide finds them. He nearly kills Riku, but Replica Riku's heart saves him from dying. Both Mickey and Riku have damaged Keyblades and leave the realm of darkness so they can get new ones. As Sora journeys regaining his powers and looking for a way to save Roxas, he finds out most of the 13 members, and I will go ahead and reveal all 13. Number 1 is Xehanort. Old Man Xehanort to be exact. Xigbar, Xemnas, who is Xehanort's nobody, Ansem, who is Xehanort's heartless, Young Xehanort, Terranort, Marlusa, Larxene, Luxord, Vanitas, Saix, Xion, and Dark Riku, which is Riku possessed by Ansem from KH1. We also learn of the 4 new Princesses of Heart, which once again include Kairi and also Elsa, Anna, and Rapunzel. We also learn that Vexen and another former member of the old Organization 13 Demics are backup in case they are needed. It works out fine because they're both double agents working for the Somebodies of Ansem the Wise's research team. Speaking of Ansem the Wise, he is saved by Hayner, Pence, and Olette with a little help from one of the double agents. Another quick side note, Maleficent and Peter looking for a black box that the darkness told her about. This black box was last seen with Lucio while the Second Keyblade War was happening. Riku and Mickey find Aqua finally, who has risen out of the abyss and disarms and captures Mickey. She takes his Keyblade and fights Riku with it. At the same time, Sora finds Master Erika's Keyblade on Destiny Island. This is the Keyblade Aqua was using before she lost the fight to the Demon Tide. The Keyblade takes Sora to the realm of darkness where Riku, more focused on saving Aqua than beating her, is nearly killed by her. But Sora shows up in time to save him. Aqua and Sora fight and Sora wins. Aqua falls back into the abyss, but this time Sora is there to save her. They take her out of the realm of darkness and she wakes up for the first time in 11 years in the realm of light. Aqua takes Sora to Castle Oblivion as she turns it back into the land of departure. They wake up Ventus and return to Master Yunsid with Mickey, Riku, Kairi, Lee, Sora, Aqua, and Ventus. They have their 7 lights to save Terra and the worlds. The 7 travel to the Badlands to fight the organization one last time. The 7 lights lose the fight, and all of them lose their hearts. Kairi manages to keep her heart alive and keep Sora from completely dying. Sora is in a place called the Final World. Here he pieces his heart together and finds the heart of Naminé and a girl most believed to be Starletzia, and uses the power of Waken to find everyone before their heart is taken by the Heartless of Death. They reunite back before they are killed. Let's talk about this a moment, as it may have a lot of implications later. For now, Sora broke time. He stopped what was going to happen in that timeline and reformed the timeline. He broke a rule of the universe. Moving on, Sora after the end of this battle travels back in time again to find Kairi. We will get there in a moment, because what future Sora does, traveling back in time, and what present Sora and his friends are doing are happening at the same time. I will be addressing them together. If you're confused, think of time travel in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Naminé and future Sora call in Terra's lingering will, and it saves them from their fate the first time. Still overwhelmed by the demon tide, the power of Ephemer and the spirit of Union Cross come to help, but it's still not enough to hold back the tide. Yunsid also arrives, holding back the tide so that they can go forward. Sora and Riku fight Xigbar and Dark Riku. After losing, Xigbar fakes his own death and is gone. Replica Riku comes out of the real Riku and takes Dark Riku out of the replica body so that it can be used for Naminé. Together, Dark Riku returns to his time, and Replica Riku passes on. Sora then helps Mickey versus Luxord and Marluxia and Larxene, all of them beginning to remember a bit of who they really are. After they are defeated and start the process of becoming whole, Luxord gives Sora a wild card, though it's not shown yet what it does. Sora moves on to help Kairi and Lee, going by Axel again, against Saïx and unknown to them Xion. Xemnas goats Xion to kill Axel after Axel is hurt, but Sora steps in to help, making Xion remember who she is, and even Axel remembers who she is. Before Xion can be killed, Roxas, from the help of Ansem, Vexen, and the research team, as well as the future Sora, is able to enter a replica body and become whole. He saves Xion and Axel, but Kairi is kidnapped. They beat Saïx, who vanishes to become whole again himself.
Sora then moves on to help Aqua and Ventus in their fight against Vanitas and Terra and Xehanort. After beating Vanitas, before he vanishes, he tells Sora and Ventus he is darkness. Is that an edgy teenager being edgy, or a hint at darkness from the Dandelions? We shall see. Terra Xehanort is able to beat Sora, Aqua, and Ventus. However, before killing them, Terra's heart finally is able to have some control, and with the help of Sora, Terra is able to finally get his body back. Sora, Mickey, and Riku team up to fight Xemnas, Ansem, and young Xehanort, with the latter 3 being defeated. Xehanort is the only darkness remaining, and lets them know when they clash with him, the real X-Blade will be forged and Kingdom Hearts will be summoned. They refuse, so Xehanort shatters Kairi's heart. He doesn't outright kill her, as he thinks he may need her again if this plan fails. Sora clashes with Xehanort, forging the X-Blade. Everyone reunites, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy are going to fight Xehanort, while the rest stay and hold back the darkness. Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and Xehanort all go to Scala Akailum, the place Xehanort and Ericus trained. Future Sora, who has been helping out here or there, also goes with them in an attempt to find the pieces of Kairi's heart. Future Sora is able to find all 7, while he also helps Mickey and Ko in their fight. Together, he and a now reformed Kairi face off against Xehanort and beat him. While this is going on, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are fighting against Xehanort, who has taken all 13 of himself and become one powerful fighter. Sora and Ko finally beat him, and the rest of the gang show up. Ericus, whose heart was inside of Terra's heart, makes himself visible and talks to Xehanort. The two finally have an understanding of each other, and Xehanort, at last, gives up his goal to reforge the world in darkness. He gives Sora the X-Blade, and Xehanort and Ericus go together to the afterlife.
Sora desummons Kingdom Hearts and the X-Blade and decides to travel to the past to save Kairi. He says his goodbyes and leaves. A little later, Sora and Kairi secretly help their friends on the only date they have ever been on, helping Vin remember who he is by returning him with his charity. Oh, I forgot to mention charity. In short, they are a Dream Eater made by the Master of Masters to aid the young Keyblade builders of the past. Sora meets Vin's Cherthi in the final world, and now we come full circle. So Kairi and Sora also extract Naminé from Kairi and put her in the replica. A little later, everyone is playing together on Destiny Islands, and they all look up to see Sora and Kairi on the tree together. Sora says something to Kairi, and he vanishes. You see Sora breaking the laws of the universe and abusing the power of waking basically erase Sora from the realms of the world. Everyone is trying to figure out how to save Sora. The Wayfinder trio head to the realm of darkness. Kairi asks to be put to sleep to see if she can find Sora in the realm of sleep, and Riku is looking at finding Sora in the data. Some clues are put together. Eventually, after a year of Sora being missing, we find Riku is the key to finding Sora. Meanwhile, Xigbar drops the act and is now Lushu again, though he still looks like Xigbar. He has the black box and picks up the Gazing Eye, his Keyblade, that he has been missing for hundreds of years. He summons the Master of Masters' apprentices. All but Ava arrive, with Lushu saying that she played her role. The game ends before we see Lushu's true plan. Sora wakes up in the dark version of the final world. He runs into Yurzora, a person that looks like a mix of him and Riku, and promises to help Sora. He fights Sora, however, Sora beat him. Yurzora tells Sora that his powers are not needed yet, and he fades away, moving Sora back to the final world, and catching us up on where we are in Kingdom Hearts.
Woo! Well, that was a lot, guys. If you really like this kind of stuff, go ahead and leave a like and comment, and we will kill ourselves again for this kind of content.
And if you want any more Kingdom Hearts related content, theories, or videos, this universe is something that we are very familiar with, and we had a lot of fun with it. And if you'd like to see more of those skit type openings, let us know. And as always,
we are the final bosses.